Real Estate for Breakfast, where McGuireWoods partner Phil Coover brings you essential conversations with leaders in commercial real estate, translating complex industry challenges into actionable insights.
Good morning. This is the Real Estate for Breakfast podcast. I'm your host, Phil Coover. I'm a partner in McGuireWoods in the Chicago office of our real estate practice group. Today we have John Slaten of Slaten Construction. John, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
John, you are the founder and CEO of Slaten Construction, and excited to talk about your business today. Can you just give us a little overview of Slaten Construction and what you guys do?
Yeah, Slaten Construction we look at ourselves as a service company for building relationships, servicing our customers. We do anything from remodel to ground up to development. We bring in finances if needed. We bring in turnkey items, the architects, the engineers. Do anything from 100 million to, anything bidding $400 million data centers. And we're remodeling a $50,000 office with new carpet and lights. So we try to service our customers, and more or less, most of our customers are repeat business. And although we're always welcoming new business and always looking for new business, but we look at ourselves more of a relationship construction company.
That's a great summary. That's cool that you guys are doing data centers too. I didn't realize that. That is the buzzword of the day. If you want to get someone excited, you just drop the word data center in there. It's a little joke we have around here in our real estate group.
You can almost go in any business conversation and bring it up, and there'll be something to talk about for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Well, tell us, when did you get Slaten Construction started?
I actually worked for a great, wholesome family, fourth generation business, made really great relationships in the area. I worked there for 25 years. And when we hit a slow period, they decided to kind of close. They were all men of the trade, so they had good pensions. And, so it was a kind of an easy transition because I had built such a clientele for the role I was in there, about as high as I could get, not being a family member. And that was about 2017 is when I opened Slaten Construction. So Slaten Construction was opened in 2017, and I started in about 92. So it was a very tough transition going in when you're getting a job in 2017 for several million, and they see you've been open for 3 months, and you're trying to explain your 25 years of experience, and this is nothing. And, so it was a climb. But it was also an easy transition because of the great customers that I had built on that side.
And when you started, was it just you, or did you bring a team, or how did you found the business?
Yeah, it's a good question, especially for a business, because it really has to do with the money. If you have a lot of money, you can hire a team or get a loan. And I decided the opportunity I was in, my son was sick at the time and going through, what people go through, their own rough patches. So I wasn't taking a loan. I started just myself. And I would go downtown and do the demo myself because it was at night. And I would, instead of having a subcontractor, and then like the MEPs would come in during the day, I would be the superintendent, then I'd be the project manager. I did 3 jobs in very quickly, say a couple months, and was able to double fist on all of them. Still, the fair price was there, but I wasn't hiring a sub. So everything I lost was just my time. And to me, that was part of doing business. And so I did that and quickly put in a savings account what I thought I wanted enough money to hire 3 people and have 6 months of their salary. So what I did was hire 2 people, and I had enough for a year of their salary. So that gave me the confidence I could look them in an eye and say, I promise you this year, this is what you'll have. If you take a chance on me, I think it'll be a lot longer. They did. And by the end of the first year, I had about 8 people. And in the first quarter, I was opening 2 more divisions. And I think bottom of the second year, I grew to about 65 people.
65 at the end of the second year?
Yeah, and the second year going into the third. I had 4 divisions. Midway through the third year, I had 4 different divisions. I was open in 1 state. My focal point was to work in many states to be able to, I had drawn a sun, big circle, and said, this is Slaten Construction, and that's the mother. And then every line that comes off I'm going to insure all my people because if Chicago's not doing well, Nevada is. If Nevada's not, Florida is. And we always had a stream of income.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I mean, so many times people just want to start to their local geography and like where they're used to doing business. But that's interesting that you knew from the start you wanted to hit the different states. And as we look back over time, you're so right. Like there are just different points where different markets get real hot and then they cool off, and then other markets get real hot. Like that was really an interesting way for you to approach that.
Yeah, a lot of people say not the smart thing to do. Everybody really discouraged me. I'm not saying it's a smart thing to do. I'm saying in my career, I always had to work and I always looked at myself as the leader, and my kids need to eat and they have sports, very expensive sports, very expensive. And what I would do was, okay, it's winter time, you're pouring, you're doing bridges. Well, those guys, they want to be off. I worked the winters and I was able to do, but that only goes so long. So then commercial work, it's like, man, it's really slow. But you look at residential, it's through the roof. You look at residential, it's slow, but commercial's going crazy and development's going nuts. Well, that's down, but industrial's a high of they're never all, it's just like golf, right? Your driver's on, but you can't putt, you can't, Murphy's Law. So my thought was, it's not me, but if you can be a leader, a top leader, meaning selfless, empathy. Hey, there's only $50 here, but I know you five have kids. You take it. I'll be okay. And they see that and they believe in you and they believe in something. It's not just money. If make them part of it. It's not my company. It's never been my company. It's the customer's company. It's the sub's company. Like, let's do it together. There's nothing better than getting with a client, having the same group travel the world, and they know what they get. They have the same price, and they know, and it's like a perfect fit. And if you can create that, it's amazing. And then they see that and everybody believes in it. You don't have the guy trying to cheat, or you don't have the guy not showing up. So I wanted to create that for the people and the customers. And to be honest, it's a very longevity. I never wanted to be without work my whole life for whatever reason, because I was hungry. I'm not hungry. I can go buy a meal, but when the money's not there, I'm the one that takes the hit. And I always tell them they can go in and take a look at what I make, take a look at what you make. And we made it where you can make this much by doing this, doing that. It's a very transparent thing. And, Billy's not getting 50 grand and you're getting 30 because his name's Billy and he's related, or, everybody can do what they want. And very quickly people see they don't fit in here and they want to go because they know. They're like, man, this is a really nice place. I just can't work like that. It's like some people want to be mad all the time, or they want to have attitudes, or they don't want to treat customers like they're the winner, and they want to. Some people just want to be a boss, and that's it. And they wouldn't fit in very good here. So if the guy sweeping the floor tells me, the founder, man, you're really messing up. If you do it this way and that way, you're going to save 7 minutes. Well, 7 minutes on a 20-story building, that's 200 grand. And I would give that guy the biggest hug he's ever seen. And I tell 20 people what he told me. So if you raise that kind of culture and they believe in it, they got to believe in it and act like it, then you're going to create a table of core people. And then people are going to come in and come and go and, come for the ride and go, okay, let's try it. And you can see quickly if they fit in or not. And even people that don't fit in, sometimes they're just in the wrong role. And you have to be able to be sharp enough to say, like, I had an administration lady and everybody wanted her gone, nicest lady in the world. And I started talking with her and doing different things and on purpose giving her things to do. I realized she was the best contract lady, better than anyone I've ever met. And she heads up contracts. So now she has a job. She excelled. She's laughing. She's not mad. She's not screwing up. You know what I mean? It's just sometimes. And then sometimes it just doesn't work.
Well, I mean, there's so many great nuggets in there. I mean, I love that when you started the business, some people told you not to expand the geographies, but you just did what you thought was right. I recently saw, I can't remember who was saying this, but it was somebody else on a podcast was basically saying like That's the one thing, advice to founders is you're going to get tons of people giving you advice, but you got to do what you think is the right move and just trust your gut because you're the one doing it. So,
So many people I really respected. Some people stopped talking to me. Like, I try to give you advice. I like you, but every entrepreneur will tell you that. And I'm sure you've, been around this. If you really want something now, I feel like in this country, you can find something to do and you can make a good living. And some people, and there's nothing wrong with it, trust me, like to walk in, hear that beat, do their job, hear that beat, and now it's the kids, it's the family, which I love. Somehow I never missed anything with my kids. I don't know how, but I never screwed up being a dad. But if you really want something big, I haven't been to 2 Christmases in a row. I've lost friends, I've lost loved ones, because I didn't call or I wasn't there at the birthday party or I can't tell you how many times I've worked through the night, 24 hours. I've had a 2 year stint of probably 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. I've done what it's take. When you hit a bump, those people that are underneath you following you, you can't expect them to do that. And I have to make that road where they can at least walk. Now, if I need them to jog, that's a good ask, but I can't have them go underground and hold their breath, and so I do that. And whatever it takes, and I'm willing to die for the company and I don't want to die. So I'm just saying that I would die and I would truly put my life for the company if it made everybody go in the direction it's going. And if you're willing to do that and you're selfless, I just don't understand how you can lose in this universe. So it's a win-win. But to your point, 90% of the people I loved and respected said I was an idiot. But I'll tell you what, COVID, I would have been out of business if I didn't do that. And those other states saved me. I had one job here with many people, and many people sat at home for a year, didn't miss one check, had full benefits, and the only person that didn't get a check every week was me. And if that's not proof that you would put your life up for them, nothing is. When someone's getting rid of their labor, you back kills from laboring as a kid to being a carpenter for 20 years to being in the field for, over 20 years, jackhammering and doing anything else you had to do. And now you're given that pension you earned so they can eat. And very quickly you learn what kind of culture you're building and by you sacrificing like that, their reaction.
yeah, no, I've thought about that a lot because it's like, how does a leader do you encourage the people that work with you to work hard? How do you do that? Because there's a couple different ways and management styles that I've seen. And as lawyers, we have to work hard because we bill on hourly. So it's just a mathematical function. Like you need a lot of the employees and the lawyers to work hard and work for a long time in order to generate revenue. It's just as a business model, which is not my favorite part of the business model for sure, but that's what we have right now. So I've thought about that a lot. And I've seen some people at other firms, who really try to like lean on their employees and be very demanding of them in order to try to get them to work harder and longer. And I don't like that style, but I like the style that you're suggesting, which is you can't always ask people to do it, but if you do it yourself and you lead by example, you'll elevate the entire team. And they'll all like, you try to create an atmosphere where you're genuine about wanting to further the company and the business, then the rising tide will lift all boats. They'll all want to participate in that.
Right. It's what your probably number one question. That question is probably the number one, in my opinion, to have a successful business. You can tell that you obviously are a businessman because that's what's your core of your business. If you're not working hard, you're not making money. That's for sure. You get lucky once in a while, you bid something right. But I'll tell you, an honest general contractor, you need to do some revenue to make some money. I don't care if the job's $100 million. You're not making $100 million. You're lucky to make a few percent on that but if you're good, you have a good team and this guy's lower than that guy and you're making that savings. Now you can start creeping up your percentage a little and say, okay, they have a dynamite price. I'm not making 2%. I'm making 5 and they're still way under the budget. And you're showing that to them, and sometimes you get a customer that you're in line with. And then like I've had customers go, John take that price up a little bit. You worked with me for 3 months to get it here. And then you have people that go, hey, can you take your percentage out? And oh yeah, sure, I'll just work for free, and then you quickly learn what kind of groups you want to work with. And so the question you ask is, I give you a lot of credit. For me, I can only answer how I do. And it kind of comes like pretty natural in terms of how I'm wired. I'm not better than anybody. Matter of fact, probably most of the world's a better businessman than me. I just work hard and I do care about people. So naturally, the way a human I feel is wired. If I come to you and go, Philip, you got to get this stuff done. I told you we got to have 3 this week. Now, you're going to be like, man, you have no idea what I'm going through. Maybe you're going through something at home. Maybe you're going through something because of me. I double stack something thinking, hey, I did it. Because again, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, but I built my career by these guys do a couple jobs at a time. I did 10, 12 jobs myself. But I realize I'm good with people and I put the right people at each location. I can't do 12 jobs. And then when they say, good job, John, you did great. No, that was Terry's job. Terry did great. I was just the leader. He was the leader there where the money got made. He was. And you give them that credit. They want to do more. They want to do more like that. When I go in and go, hey, what's going on? Because I'm your friend too. Talk to me. Something going on at home? Are you having problems? Because something isn't right here. I know your work performance. I know this. Let's talk about it. Can I help? And a lot of times I was able to help and it wasn't a burden. I was able to help. There was a problem. And now, who does that? So now I have not only a friend, my employee is doubling up the workload and we don't have a hiccup here anymore. And then you have people that you approach that way and, you have to do everything by the law, sign here. I talk to you. I mean, why'd you fight? Well, he loses 100 grand every time. And I've had 19 talks. I'm the type of guy I don't want to get rid of anybody. And I used to never do. And then I would go pick up the slack. Well, I can't do that anymore. It's too much. And we're getting we're going in upward motion. So I learned processes and we put processes in place. Another good key is how they make their money. So you got to be reasonable for one. So I never track off of what I've done. I track off of what the norm is. And whatever that is, let's say you're doing a really big job. I'm not giving him 4 more jobs. If you have a little job here, I'm not going to have this guy go 4 hours just because it's a little job. But if there's something here and here, he can watch over those. And now that you're picking up money over here and I'm not charging them for a super over here or those kind of things. So now he's getting credit for 3 jobs. I can create a scorecard. The client, was he happy when you from start to finish? You'd be very surprised at what a client's thinking when something goes just perfect. I've had clients go, well, John, I'm used to having you, from, well, that was 25 years ago, but the guy, he doesn't smile. He doesn't this, or, oh my God, John, that guy, he was like you. And I'm like, oh, he's better. I want to always have people better than me, smarter than me. So the client, is that a 5 or is it a 1? And that's how you get paid. Now, the second item is, did your job come on schedule? Well, if it didn't, why? And, if we're checking these things quarterly, we're setting them up. So it's not at the end of the year, hey, well, remember I had this and that guy changed that. And it's always somebody, there's always problems. It could be my end. It could be the architect. It could be the city. It could be the client. It doesn't matter. We're doing the job. It's all our fault. We're in charge of this whole thing. Doesn't matter whose fault. So how did we get by? Did you communicate? And then that's a 5. And did we make money on the job? Is that a 1 or a 5? And your overall, did you use the software? Did the clients get their, reports? Did they get all their pictures every week so they could look and see because they're out of state? Or, we have many clients in, Italy and they bought a building in Chicago and they're not going to fly here. Let's pretend they're here. Let's make them feel like that. And so how was that? And if those are all good and they're making 10% bonus of their salary every quarter, I mean, that's a good day. Or are they making 2%? And so they have the wheel. Everybody wants to, the full amount, and so we make it where, hey, it's up to you. you make this or you can make this. And so those are my approaches into working hard. The last thing I'll say is I'll give an example. We're doing a factory in West Chicago, and the owner calls me Sunday and says, John, I have a problem. One of the things that got dug out, the sewer must be broke or something. And in the pit, we have nothing but backup from the toilet, and it's bad. And it's Sunday, so I have a superintendent that's running the job. He has two little kids, one 3 and one 2, and his wife's pregnant. I spend the day there gagging and get it out, get it cleaned out, wash it out. I don't say anything to anybody in my firm. And then I cap it so nothing had to be done. They could pour it on Monday. Well, then they find out about it that I went there. They held on to that for about a month. They asked the owner, who fixed this? And they're like, oh, we called John and just assumed one of you guys came over. So then in the meeting, they start talking about it, and people are hearing, why would the founder go out there and do all this? And so I'm not better than them, and they see that. I ask them for advice, and they see that. Then I think that work ethic is like, well, he'll do it if I don't. You know what I mean? And that's pretty.
Right, right.
But I didn't even ask because I was thinking about their family. I'm sitting there watching football, so I went. So those are my approaches, if that makes sense.
Oh, totally. I love hearing all about that. Tell me, what's been the biggest challenge you've had since you've started your company? Or like whether it's market related or just something that happened internally. Yeah.
Oh man, I'll say my biggest challenge is my heart. I lead with my heart and I trust. I would come to you and I would be offended if you didn't trust me. I just want to help you. The first day I met you, if somebody came in and they started shooting, I would put you behind me. That's how I'm wired. I like you. I want to protect you. I want to help. And to me, that's a friendship. That's how my heart is. I worked on, I'll give an example in Reno. When I started the business out there, I did the same thing like I did here. I did 2 jobs. I got the money. I didn't take any loans, and I found people, and I end up looking at a $30 million job after I'm in 4 years there by that time. I run into some internal problems where I'm trusting, and now I'm opening a division. I'm having money pilfered from me on my own acquaintances, my own payroll, in terms of my own staff. I'm building what I think for them. And like when I'm super tired, I think of one of their kids that just got into college, my kids that just got into college. And that's my mindset. So it's easy for me to keep going. And I imagine myself like on all fours and I'm almost at the top. And then you slip down and you grab a stick and you're hanging. And so this is in my own crazy mind. So I get this thing, I do a budget for free. I do all this work about 3 months, and they become my friends. Going to their homes, they're coming to my house. One of them got a boat. They loved it so much out there. I'm the one that brought them out there because I bid like 4 jobs for them and didn't get anything. And I said, you owe me. I want you to go to Nevada. And trust me, it's going nuts. They fall in love. They say, you're right. One guy buys a house there, sells everything here, moves there, gets a boat. He's on the Lake Tahoe, right? I work on this thing for 2 years for free. Just me, so I'm not paying somebody. I get it to budget. They change lots. I redo it. I get everything done. They say, now we want to go energy. Well, all you have to do is change it for energy. I'm like, well, no, that changes everything. It's the siding, the roof, the glass, so I change everything again and go. So now I have about $200,000 my time into it. Fast forward. The gentleman that was the first pilfer from my company was trying to get me for money. And I'm like, don't want to pay a lawyer for something that all I have to do is show a piece of paper. Like, hey, this guy stole it. Look at it. And, he writes a letter to Reno and says, hey, I don't work for him anymore. And he's a qualifier on my license in Nevada. He did the law portion of it. And he says, I haven't worked there since 2019. So they don't ask me. They don't say anything. I've closed so many jobs. No city slicker has come in there and landed these cowboys, and they call me brother. And I share meals with them. I go out and see them even when there's no work. And I build a team out there. And nobody's done that there. And they don't welcome that. And it was very easy for me. And because I'm true, I'm sincere, they drop me. They say you're suspended on hold. What do you mean? I get this letter, no call, no nothing. I'm in the middle of 3 jobs. And so I go out there immediately. What do you mean? So I said, well, this guy, I go, I'm already in for a new qualifier. Like, then we know that we let him go. He stole. It's a lie. No, he says 2019. I go, man, all I have to do is show you payroll. So I showed her payroll. It's 2022. And he's saying 19. Here's his check on 2022. And she says, sorry, there's nothing I can do. So I had to do everything all over. That was a huge challenge. My point is, my friend, customer, says, "Hey, how you doing?" "Great, great. I'm doing good. How are you?" "Good." He goes, "Hey, I just want to let you know you can't work on that job." And what job? "The one we were getting ready that you've been, helping us with." "The one I've been doing for 2 years for free?" "Yeah." I go, "Why is that?" And he goes, "One of the investors looking, you're like on hold. You're suspended. Do you want to ask me why or anything? Like, I'm just curious." You just say like, "Oh, here's a sack of potatoes." And he goes, "Nothing I can do, bud." I go, "Okay, that's fine." And that, boom, right off the window. Building that like brotherhood or even, friendship with a woman client or a man client or, whatever it is, and being thrown out for a nickel. When you're putting your soul, caring like that, like your heart, putting the wrong guy, that's his seat. He's a good at what he does, or maybe too good at what he does, and trusting that, yeah, you can be on the bank. I mean, how can I do it? I'm in Reno. I'm going to do payroll, and it's company. That's all they do, and then, so that's happened a couple times. So you have to learn those lessons. I think that was my biggest challenge. When work gets slow and you see this holding area, it's a challenge, but then you're hustle. I'll hustle. I'll find work. They'll say, "Hey, looks like nothing's coming in next month." And I'll make a call in a few hours to them and say, "I got 2 things coming. They can start right away." And that's not me. I think it's like the universe or God, making sure we just keep going. If you feel like you're here for a different reason, then you are, and that's what I feel. I'm here for a different reason.
Thanks for sharing that story with us. It's always so hard because, like, the only way to expand is to trust people and let them have, runway to do what they're doing. But if you get a bad actor, somebody who's not on the same page as you, then that kind of bites you. But you have to do that. And then building those relationships with your clients is like, I was just telling some associates last week, that's kind of the secret sauce to practicing law. If you're just churning out revisions to an indemnity or like doing the paperwork, it's can be kind of a boring job. But if you're actually like helping the client and they have a goal and a vision and you're in the trenches with them, you're on calls trying to figure out things like, solving problems in real time, working through things, helping them get to a close, and then they really value how you helped them. That's what makes this job fun. That's what makes this job worthwhile. It's tough when it bites you a little bit and you've trusted and you've invested so much time in a relationship, but you have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a baby sometimes, like, I go, "Yeah, what am I, a sissy?" Like, what do I care if you're right. It's a big deal when you call my lawyer at 9 o'clock at night or on a Sunday or Saturday, and he goes, "What's up, John?" You know what I mean? You build that. It means a lot coming from that end, to me, and it does. But yeah, you're right.
Ah, yeah. What's what makes the job worthwhile is caring. Hey, so before we let you go, I want to hear about just what's going well. Like, what are you seeing in the marketplace? Either whether it's a geographic region or if it's a type of building. Like, what are you seeing really do well right now?
Right now, developments, data centers, the investors are looking for development to be, a lot of people are like, "Oh man, the market, and this and that, the rates." Right now, my investors are like, "Oh, that's too small. This is too small. That's too small." And it's like, what? Like, they want bigger. I've been working on this development, me and Karen, for almost 4 years and in Nevada. And it's a community, huge. I mean, it's 15-year project. And I took it to a lot of the big guys. I'm just saying the big guys around here, you know who they are. And it's too big. I found the right team and we finally getting this thing put together. And I'll tell you, the biggest companies in the United States One is coming from out there and opening here because of this project. And we're joint venturing with these guys. And the development, they're all over it. Investors, like they're lining up now. Once we get the first one, they're all lining up. So I want to say, to answer your question, is, development. And I know if you look at this charts right now, industrial's kind of in a halt. That went nuts and it kind of ran its course. And there's a bunch of empty buildings right now because of the rates. That was a big one. Offices, buildings, flipping them into single offices, renting five, that like ran its course. But it'll come right back. One of them will tie into with this, or the residential commercial, where you got residential on top. That was really hot. And that's kind of coming back right now. So I would say, you're always going to have your hospitality upgrades. That's kind of like this. The hotels, they were sitting like this about 2 years ago. And right now they're sitting like this, where everything else is kind of like this. So that's still kind of peaking the hospitality, but it's like leveling out. So I would say, in my opinion, if somebody was looking to do something, look to team up with a group, if they don't want to do it themselves, but development, even, a couple, duplexes, or, we have a little property in Geneva. We're going to do some apartments in it and maybe 5 or 6 townhomes in the grass, or those kind of things. And then rent. You develop it and rent it. Those are going good right now. So that's what I've been seeing lately, and that's what we're into. But of course, your office remodels, the downtown Chicago, the New York, Detroit, all those, you're always got remodels there. Someone else moves in, though they're kind of a big shot and they have the first 2 floors. That's always pretty consistent.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing over the past few years is the developers keep developing. Everyone was worried when the interest rates went up. And it was kind of when the interest rates were in flux that was the challenge. But now that they've leveled off and you kind of know where they're going to be,
They know where it's exactly right. Yes.
yeah, they're just not worried about it spiking or dropping. I just think developers, they got to develop. That's what they do.
Right. They might change what's going on the land, to hit something like, okay, we'll do rent to own, or we'll just sell it. Because you're always going to have your big dogs coming in and wanting to buy it. So you can always, you get it up to 80, 70%, 65, 70%, 80. You can start at 60%. You can start calling the big guys and saying, hey, I have this. Would you like, it's this much occupied? Would you like to take a look at it? And what was happening before that I truly miss is, and it's kind of like still, now you have your hot states though, you have your Tennessee, Florida, you have Reno. I mean, that's still like people are dying for land. But there was, where in Reno, that's why I opened there about, I think 2018, I opened there. I started working on it right away, but they would take a sign, buy a little piece of property and say coming soon, and put a phone number. And that sucker would be, just say it was a 30-unit rental, and that would be fully occupied in 2 weeks. And it's like 6 months out from building. Like, I'm like, that's my thing. I always know what to do. Like COVID, I knew what to do. '09, I knew what to do. But I just didn't have the money. I was still holding on to the stick like cliffhanger. Like, I told all my friends that had big money, I'm like, go buy this build, go buy these buildings. I mean, that thing's 200 grand. You're going to sell it for 1.2. You don't need to sell it. Your kids are out of college. In a year, you'll sell that for 1.2. And a couple of them would call me like, "Hey, I got 1.4." I'm like, "Oh yeah, great, good for you." Like, so I always knew what to do. I was just short of and I never wanted to take like loans because my kids. And now my kids are older, and it's always like when you're a kid, you're hearing the guy, and like I'll be mentoring somebody or something. I'm like, "Oh man, that's like I must be getting old," because I remember this guy used to do that. I'd ask him, and that's how I learned construction. I would go to the older guys and, oh, don't bend over. I got it for you, sir. Like, oh, I'm out of nails. I'll be right back. And I'll run, and I have them all pointing the down. Here's the heads up. Here you go. What pouch you want on it? So he's like, then he's like, come here, kid. Like, I like this, like, and then they would teach me, and I learned everything I could learn, so.
That's a great way to end it. Thanks so much for coming on the show. So since you always know what to do, if you had all the money in the world, where would you put it right now?
I would invest in Slaten Construction. I mean,
Perfect answer. Perfect answer.
and make sure you have a good lawyer. I know one.
Perfect. All right. Well, John, thanks for coming to the show.
All right. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Real Estate for Breakfast. To learn more about today's discussion, please email host Phil Coover at pcoover@McGuireWoods.com. We look forward to hearing from you. This series was recorded and is being made available by McGuireWoods for informational purposes only. By accessing this series, you acknowledge that McGuireWoods makes no warranty, guarantee, or representation as to the accuracy or sufficiency of the information featured in this installment. The views, information, or opinions expressed are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily reflect those of McGuireWoods. This series should not be used as a substitute for competent legal advice from a licensed professional attorney in your state and should not be construed as an offer to make or consider any investment or course of action.